Hello and welcome to another edition of Mosaic, an African American perspective. I'm your host, Deborah Milo. On today's show, we'll be talking about Montgomery County's 2015 New Americans Expo. The New Americans Expo 2015 is an informational fair and celebration welcoming the immigrant communities that make Montgomery County and the Washington region a dynamic place. With us today are organizer Cristina Frey and Betsy McGuire, volunteer coordinator. What exactly is the Expo, and talk especially about the importance of it for immigrants?
The New Americans Expo is a community fair where immigrants are going to find all sort of information about services that the county and nonprofits are offering to immigrants. It's a one-stop shopping place for them to get all the information they need to be successful in this new country.
And that's important because there's so many resources and tools that are out there. A lot of people, don't know about it. Betsy, you want to add to that?
Well, it's going to be an exciting expo because we're going to have so many different nonprofits available there, and also our government, county government presence there. Montgomery County offers a plethora of services, and sometimes people don't know where do they go, what do they need to get. So this offers them kind of a one-stop place where they can kind of look at different places. It's also a safe environment. We want all immigrants, new and old,
right.
All statuses. We welcome them all there.
Okay, that's good to know. So talk a little bit about the various activities or the types of resources that's going to be available. Betsy, we'll start with you.
Well, I'm in charge of the volunteers, so I've been recruiting volunteers and students, and I'm also in charge of the entertainment. So we're going to do an open mic, and then we also have a group of high school students who are either dance groups. We're also going to have someone's going to do a tango on there. So all different kind of music acts. We also have Dave Maya, which Cristina can talk a little bit more about, and he's our star for the show.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have live entertainment, and one of our main guests is David Amaya. He's a young Latino who is blind, and he wrote a theme song for the Expo. So he's going to launch his new song at the Expo. And also, we're going to have activities for kids. This is an event that is for the entire family. We're inviting everybody to come and have a great time with us. And we're going to have snacks and drinks provided by our sponsors. We're going to have more than 40 nonprofits and government agencies exposing their services and products to the community. Also, we have crafts, local vendors, corporations showcasing their work. This expo is being sponsored by corporations and small businesses in our community.
You mentioned that there will be some government entities there. What are some of the government agencies that are going to be there from the county agencies? Yeah,
this expo is being organized in partnership with the Office of Community Partnerships. The director is Bruce Adams.
Bruce Adams, I know Bruce well.
He's supporting us so much. And we are going to have the Office of Community Partnerships with all the people who work there. The Gilchrist Center is going to be there. The Volunteer Center is going to be there. We're going to have the Health Department, the Recreational Center.
The library is also going to be there. Montgomery County Public Library is going to have a spot. The police department is also going to be there.
I'm so glad to hear that there's a plethora of county sponsors that are going to be there, because this is an important event. It's an important initiative, and I'm glad to see and hear about the support that the county departments are lending. So now, what are some of the countries of origin that the New Americans come from? We see wonderful people coming in all the time, and it's kind of difficult to kind of sometimes, understand where everyone's coming from. So what are some of the countries that you see folks coming from?
Well, initially this project was going to be for Latinos because that's my background and that's my network. But when I took the project to Bruce Adams, he said, okay, if you want to work with the county, you have to reach out to everybody. And I said, yes, of course.
Right.
And then when I realized that I had to reach to the Middle East communities, the Asian communities, the African communities, the Caribbean communities, and the Latino communities, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. And you know, you can find people from all over the world in this county. This is an amazing county. So much wealth of cultures, languages, traditions. It's such an amazing place to live. And then I discovered that, we have so much. And I had to go to visit the leaders of all these communities to find out what were their needs. Because we prepare some panels according to those needs, because we want to talk. We want this expo to be a community forum. This is for the community, for people to come and talk about their issues, to feel comfortable, to feel like they are accepted, respected, and they have a voice. They're going to be heard.
That's right.
So we have 18 panels. And the panels are being organized by different organizations in our community.
Can you talk a little bit about what some of those panels are going to talk about? We were sharing earlier, and I wanted to, talk a little bit about that.
Right.
Well, I know one of the ones we are talking about is the Muslim community is going to talk about profiling. That's one of the things they're going to talk about, and that's something that occurs also across the board to all people of color and all different styles. So that's something that affects. So it'll be interesting for them, and they're presenting it, but we're also going to get that perspective. But we'll also get other input on it from other people who come in to talk about it.
Okay. And so, like I was mentioning, so what have you seen as far as some of the various countries that are coming in, our immigrant friends and family? Who's coming?
35% of the population in Montgomery County was born abroad. So it's a big part of our population that needs to learn how to integrate into this new culture, the new systems. And most of the people is from Central America, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and also from Africa, from West Africa.
Oh yes, that's Ghana, Nigeria, places like
Ethiopia,
that.
yes.
Of course.
It's people who come as refugees. They are highly educated, but they also have challenges adjusting to the new culture.
Of course, and anytime you're from another part of the world and you come to the West, it's always going to be some transition challenges.
Absolutely.
So the importance of the Expo is critical, I think. You were mentioning something earlier. I wanted to go back to one of your points about undocumented people are welcome, and I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Well, this expo is free. We want to make sure we say that because that's important. But we want everybody to attend, and we talk to people. We were downtown in Silver Spring this weekend. Cristina and I, we were handing out flyers to the stores and asking the employees to also put them in the back in the employee lounge, so that the families of a lot of these young people who are working there can come to this, because we think it's important that they feel welcomed in the community, and that's the reality, and that's the thing that we have to look at is our people are here and they're going to stay. So we need to, they need to immerse, and we need to accept.
Exactly.
It's a question that everybody's asking me. Who's invited to the party?
Right.
And everybody's invited, because we're saying that this is a family event, this is a community event, and everybody's going to have a voice. The thing is that families in the Latino community are a form of a citizen, a resident, and an undocumented person. The people who is undocumented don't come here by themselves. There is always a relative who already lives here. My family, my husband is the citizen, and we are residents. So everybody's inviting to the expo.
And see, those are the types of questions that people don't want to ask. Do you know what I mean? People don't want to ask the questions about, well, why are these people coming here, and why is it that they need all these resources and services, and don't they know where they can go to get them? But this expo answers those questions, because this provides the springboard for them to be able to ask as many questions that they need to, and like you said, to feel safe, which I think is one of the most important elements. I really do, to be able to get the services, answer the questions, and to find out and not feel as though that the pressure is being applied, which is important.
And I think also in the context of Expo is kind of an American icon, an expo,
You're right about that.
and I think so people feel that it's not you know, it's not just going to be a lawyer there. We're going to have a variety of
Right.
things going on. So
Right.
people will find something that they're going to like there. And it could be the talks that we're going to have on the panels. It could be talking to a nonprofit who offers medical assistance to children who are not born here. Or it can be, you know, finding out how to get a library card, where, you know, that opens a whole world for children and their parents.
You know, sometimes I think we American citizens take those types of things for granted.
Absolutely.
And such as a library card. Betsy, you were saying library card. I think that we take those things for granted because when you're new to this country, even if you're new to the state, you know, there are things you just don't know. And so having an opportunity to get those resources at one place is excellent. Have there been other expos in other states, cities, or counties in the past years? I thought I read something about a New Americans Expo. Was it in 2013 in Los Angeles, or was that different?
Yeah, there was one in 2013. I don't know much about it, but it was only for nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
It was more political oriented,
see.
and this is more community oriented, and it's about services. It's about welcoming immigrants and showcasing also the force, the American history of immigration.
Exactly. Okay, exactly. So how will the Expo help immigrants to become successful?
That's a good question. You know, we think that information is power.
Absolutely.
And the more information you get, the better choices you're going to make in your life.
Right.
So we think that as immigrants, I'm an immigrant, and you feel the immigration process, it's very confusing.
It is.
You have to leave behind your culture, your language, your food, your friends, your properties, your family, and some people, their children behind.
That's right.
So it's very painful for some people, and you come to this new land full of opportunities, and you have to learn a new culture, new language, and it's a challenge. It's always a challenge, that transition, and for most of the, I can talk about the Latino experience, that is very similar to the African experience, to the Middle Eastern experience, because we're all immigrants. But we come from countries where the systems are very different.
Of course they
and
are.
the information and the ways of doing things are different. And we want to ease that process to all the immigrants who live in Montgomery County. Whether you have been here 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, or you just arrived.
Right.
It's a way to where we can find information and make things easier for you.
You know, that leaves a lot of thought, and I want to come back after our break and talk further about that. And Betsy, I know you have some things that you want to add to that as well. For those who've just tuned in, you're watching Mosaic, an African American Perspective. I'm your host, Deborah Milo, and I'm talking to Cristina Frey and Betsy McGuire. After a short break, we'll be back with more about the 2015 New Americans Expo.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who do something, the people who take action, are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Welcome back to Mosaic, an African American Perspective. I'm here with Cristina Frey and Betsy McGuire, and we're talking about the 2015 New Americans Expo. Betsy, before we went to break, we were talking about some of the programs that are going to be there and some of the resources that are going to be there at the Expo. Can you talk a little bit more about the panels?
Well, I think the panels are going to be very interesting and informative. I love that Cristina came up with the idea in the name of New Americans Expo, because this is not insular. It's going to be more inclusive of everybody, and we like that fact. So that the different panels that we have are from either profiling, and we also have some other ones about community engagement, which is important. That's part of adapting and embracing the culture. So those are issues that are important. Plus also the day-to-day things that we have to handle, and that we take for granted sometimes. And a lot of immigrants, it's a little bit more of a challenge. As an example, school meetings, parent-teacher conferences, doctor's visits. All that stuff, many people come with a culture of how they handle that. And so, having the ability to understand a little bit more about that makes it more easy to affiliate and get themselves into the community and be part of civic engagement and be part of all the other pieces that we want them to be part of, because that's going to make them stronger, and it's going to make them more at ease in the community, and their children are also going to then grow up to also have civic engagement.
And you know what, not only that, but it speaks to sparking community too.
Absolutely.
As everyone integrates into the community as a whole, that's so important. It really is critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cristina, do you have something you want to add?
Yes, I want to say that Montgomery County Public School is coming with the Board of Education. They want to reach out to the migrant community, and they want to start a conversation with them, which is something very nice. So 40% of the public schools is Latino students. And
You
I
said
have
40%?
40%, 40, yes. And I have to tell you that in these 7 months of organizing the whole event, I came to know that around 40 or 50% of Latino women are single mothers.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's about the same percentage for the African community.
It is.
So just think about how many kids have to be supported by one parent. And these women working, taking care of the kid, it's a lot of stress for the mother. So a lot of kids are being taken care of by a single parent who is under a lot of stress financially, emotionally, and they don't receive help with homework. They don't receive help with the school. She doesn't have the time to go to the meetings that Betsy was talking about, and the language barrier, the cultural obstacles that they have, and it's very hard for parents to help their kids at school. So the kids are alone. They are growing by basically alone. And you know what?
Growing up by themselves.
By themselves, and they have to take care of their siblings. They have to help their mother. They have to. They don't have time to be kids.
Yeah, they don't have the time to be able to just go out and play.
Exactly.
And that's something that just shouldn't exist.
It's a great percentage of our kids that are in that situation.
But there are services that are offered at a reduced or sometimes also free for students, and that they could go for after-school programs, the volunteer volunteer requirements that are needed for schools, the SSL, and I think more parents. A lot of times it may be a single mom who's handling a family, but I think they're a single mom when their husband goes out to work all day, try to find work, and then they're the ones who have to do education, medical, all that other stuff, and also understand who their neighbors are, because they're going to need the support of, a lot of cultures are used to extended families as their support. And many times when they come here, they're by themselves. So they need to have that extra person. And sometimes there's services that are offered that they can kind of have someone to talk to, a familiar face, someone that they can say, I'm going through this, how do I handle this? A lot of times, a lot of the children that are coming into our teenage years here, the first thing they learn is that parents can't hit the kids, because corporal punishment is against the law.
Right.
So they learn that very quickly. And then the parents have to understand the culture that we don't do corporal punishment, and that if you do that, you can get into a lot of trouble with the law, that they have to attend school, and if they miss 3 days, somebody's going to come knock at your door. So all of that is part of the culture. The language is important, but much more important is understanding the process.
we're talking about the hurdles that, you know, our immigrant friends and families have to overcome. And, you know, when I think about it at a deeper level, it is something we all, to some degree, have to really look at more closely and be appreciative of what we do have in place so that, you know, the immigrants can come and have the same opportunities as well. But when you talk about that, especially about the corporal punishment, unfortunately, that was something that was definitely in my growing up. It was something, I wasn't a recipient, but it was something that, you know, that was the that was the punishment. That was the punishment. And now, of course, you know, folks coming from other parts of the world, they don't know that that's not something you can do. You know, that's something that you can no longer do, I should say.
And that's part of learning the laws also.
It
Understanding what are the laws that affect you as a citizen in the community. I used to do ride-alongs at the police.
You mentioned that earlier, right?
About 25 years ago, I did it for 3 years, and I rode with the police, and while I was with them, and I served as an interpreter because we didn't have many Latinos on board. One of the things we did was I talked about the cultures, and I said, you know, as an example, open containers are available in, you know, in Latin American countries. Everybody would sit outside, play dominoes, and have their beer. But here you can't do that. So when the policeman drives up and they can't figure out what to do. Number one, their police in their country may not be as nice as our police in our country.
Right.
And the second thing is that they don't understand that you cannot have a bottle of any kind of alcoholic beverage in your hand outside. That's illegal. We have to explain it to them so they don't do it the next time.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of immigrants need to learn the rules to play the game. And the rules are unfortunately different back in our countries. For example, bribes. In many of our countries, a bribe to a cop is kind of the rule if you want to solve the problem.
Okay.
But in this country, people have to understand that if you do that, you are in big trouble because the law is enforced. But first of all, as Betsy said, you need to know what are the rules. What am I allowed to do and why? What is it that I can't do? A lot of people drink and drive, and it's very, very typical in our countries. But here, if you do that, you are in huge risk of losing your driving license.
You're right about that. You're right
So
about that.
the law is enforced here. In our countries, it's not many times. So you have to learn those cultural differences. You have to understand how to play the rules in this country.
You know, on top of that, I want to dig a little deeper, if you will, especially about the roles of women. You know, that's also something that's very, very different, you know, whereby in this country, women have a, you know, a more assertive or an aggressive, you know, power, if you will.
Absolutely.
Because I think it is about power to a certain degree. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Most of the new immigrants that are arriving to the country come from countries where there is a male-dominated society or a macho society. So they come here and we see American women so liberal, so free, and they do this and they do that, and there is no problem at home. So we want to be like them. We want to assimilate to that culture because it's awesome. We think it's great. But we have trouble at home. There are some women whose husbands are not very happy with that sort of
loss of control.
Loss of control.
Well,
to a certain degree.
Freedom. Freedom, right. Women want to go to work, they want to make some money, they want to start their businesses.
They want to buy shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I got here and I saw this truck driver, a huge truck, and this woman behind the wheel. And I thought, oh my God, look at that. It's the first woman I see driving such a huge truck.
That still amazes me, to be honest about it.
In my country, you never see that. It's not kind of allowed.
You're not going to see that.
I mean, it's just a male sort of dominated industry.
Well, the industry for many, many years was male dominated here too. I remember when women first started driving trucks, just a segue, and I'm telling you, it was amazing because there was so much, the atmosphere was fraught with tension about it. So we have come a long way, to say the least. So for you to see that was really
awesome.
something.
Yes, it was like, oh my God, I want to be her.
I don't think I want to drive a truck. It would be a little bit too massive for me. But there are some very unique changes and differences of women's roles. Keep going.
Yeah, what we see a lot is that marriages go through a lot of stress because of that, and a lot of families are broken because of the immigration process, because of cultural assimilation, and yeah, men don't like seeing their women who were submissive at home back in their countries, now working, being independent, making decisions, driving cars, and looking so awesome.
I like how you said that, looking so awesome. We could talk about this all day, but I want to make sure that we give our audience the website and a phone number. Can you give us the website of how they can get more information about the Expo?
Yeah, it's www.newamericansexpo.com.
New Americans.
With plural,
Plural.
With an S
Yes.
at the end.
Newamericansexpo.com.
Yes. .com, yeah.
Okay, then. And is there a phone number in case someone might want to call to ask questions?
Yes, it's 301-787-9424.
Okay, that's good to know. That's really good to know. And I'm going to assume that both you lovely ladies will be at the Expo, so I will see you there, I hope.
Absolutely.
Do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to share? Any pearls of wisdom you want to share with our audience? Betsy, I'm looking at you.
I guess because I'm the oldest one here.
No.
I'll have to throw a pearl. You know, I think I love that this is something that's a new Americans. In other words, it's talking about our culture evolving together and understanding and respecting each other. And that's what I like about this. This is an opportunity for everybody to go, and it's not directed at one group, it's directed at all of them.
Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on to today's show, because this has been a great discussion, and I'm hoping that we can have you come back even after the Expo is done.
Thank
and
you.
can
Sure.
talk about the results.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that's about all we have time for today. I'd like to thank my guests, Cristina Frey and Betsy McGuire, and to encourage you, the viewers, to attend the upcoming New Americans Expo on Sunday, October 4th, 2015, from 12 to 6 p.m. at the Civic Center in Silver Spring. For more information, visit newamericansexpo.com or contact Cristina Frey at 301-787-9424. I'm Deborah Milo. Please join us again next month for another edition of Mosaic, an African American perspective. Till next time, make it a positive day.
As a new American, I didn't know how to
Find a good job.
Start a business.
Get insurance or legal advice.
Further my education. Find affordable housing for my family.
It is very hard.
That's why we have the New Americans Expo. This informational fair will take place on October 4th
from noon until 6 at the Civic Building in Silver Spring, Maryland. Come and explore. You'll find all the information you need to succeed as a new American.
Hope to see you there.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, sparkles next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And United States Radio and Television Network, 26 separate transmissions at one time.